talk to anyone, and usually did. It didn't matter if it was a stranger at the grocery store or a nurse stopping by his home. If you had ears, Grandpa had something to say. Sometimes, most of the time, it took a while to get to the punchline. He said all the background details. But one of the last stories Grandpa told us was about him driving the TTC. There was a Jamaican woman that took this road every day, and by the third day, Grandpa felt comfortable enough to comment on her voluptuous lady lumps. He was polite, but completely unfiltered. That was just him. Honest to a fault, no matter the situation. And in case you're wondering, she took it well. That's just who he was, bold, funny, joyful, and always himself. He was such a happy man. Truly, he could find joy in the simplest things. Watching the news, game shows, collecting watches, listening to music. He loved to laugh, he loved to joke, he loved his politics. I don't think an election went by without him having a passionate opinion, or five. He was always so clean and put together, always sharp. And, let's be honest, he was never afraid to speak the truth, especially if that meant you put on a few pounds since the last time he saw you. But that was Grandpa, honest, unfiltered, and always himself. In his later years, when he started needing more care, I remember feeling a bit helpless. I wanted to help him in any way that I could. One day I found some comfrey leaves in my neighbor's backyard, and I decided to mash them up and wrap them around his kidney. He was having like some issues. And did it work? Who knows? I'm sure he thought it was total nonsense. But he let me do it anyways. He let me try to take care of him in my own weird way. I would rub his swollen feet and legs. I'd cut his hair. I made him soup one time, but I was just so happy to try to help him, even in the smallest ways. We were also kick buddies. If you know. Grandma didn't approve. But whenever I would come over empty-handed, Grandpa would look at me and give me a smart remark, and off I'd go to get us some. I just wanted him happy. I just wanted him pain-free. Grandpa was always there. He was never absent. He was there at the home, waiting in his chair whenever I came over to visit. He was there for Sunday family dinners. He was there on family vacations. He was there when I needed someone to talk to. And that's sometimes presence doesn't show. Sometimes it's quiet, steady, reliable. That was Grandpa, a constant in the background of our lives. Holding space with his warmth, his humor, and his big-hearted spirit. I will miss him. We will all miss him. But I'm grateful for every story, every laugh, every moment we have. And I know wherever he is, he's probably snapping on some nuts, telling some joke, and laughing before it's finished. It's life in a big city. Rest easy, Grandpa. Thank you for everything.
Thank you everyone for being here to celebrate the life of someone so incredibly dear to us, my grandfather, Rudolph Tomlinson. It's hard to put into words what he meant to me and to all of us. I've known him for my entire life, and his presence was a constant source of comfort, laughter, and love. There was no gathering complete without his sharp wit, his warm smile, and that big contagious laugh would fill a room. One thing that I cherish most about my grandfather was his sense of humor. and he always had a story to tell us, especially about his time as a TTC streetcar driver. The way he told it, every day on the job was an adventure, and every passenger was a new character in his company. He had us laughing so hard with stories about quirky riders and how he'd stop the streetcar if he saw someone truly making an effort to catch it. If you were sprinting like your life depended on it, he would wait. But if you were casually strolling, better luck next time. Even those small moments became part of his comedy routine. He made everyday life sound like a sitcom, and we were always ready to hear the newest story. That was just my grandpa being grandpa, and it was never a dull moment around him. I have such fond memories of coming to the house and seeing him and my grandma watching their favorite shows, especially Family Feud. And he was totally locked in, calmly pulling out answers like he was a part of the panel. And then there was his beloved kick, his Sailor Jerry rum. And it was not just a drink, it was a ritual. My sister always made sure that he was always stopped. And every time she brought it over, his eyes would light up like Christmas. It was a small tradition that brought him joy, and honestly, brought us happiness just to see that he enjoyed it so much. I also have fond memories of being in Florida with my grandparents. Grandpa would sit patiently in the car for hours and hours while my grandma and I shopped. Never rushing us and never complaining. He'd just relax in the car, the doors open, trying to catch that Florida breeze. Thank you for showing us patience. And I cannot forget your love for singing. You sang with so much joy, even if the notes didn't always land. And honestly, they didn't have to, because the happiness in your voice was what mattered. You filled the house with laughter, music, and happiness. My grandfather lived life with warmth, humor, and heart. He found beauty in the ordinary, and he showed us that the best memories often came from the simplest moments. Laughter over some drinks, watching the shows together, or a story told 100 times and never losing its magic. So today, as we remember him, let's carry those stories, that laughter, and that joy with us. Let's remember the TTC tales and game shows, the singing, and of course, his kick. He was a one-of-a-kind soul, and I feel blessed to call him my grandfather. Thank you, Grandpa, for the love, the lessons, and the laughs. I will always carry with me. As my grandpa would say, life in a big city.